Best friend confessed she has been in love with my fiancé for years and tried to kiss him at our rehearsal dinner, so I uninvited her. But our mutual friend group says I am ruining the group dynamic over a drunken mistake. Hello everyone, I 26F have been with my fiancé, 27M, for 5 years, and we were supposed to get married this past weekend. Let's call him Justin. Before I get into the mess that happened, I need to explain the dynamic between me, Justin, and my best friend Nicole, 26F. Nicole and I have been friends since middle school. We went to the same high school and the same college. She has been the most consistent person in my life besides my parents. When I met Justin during our junior year of college, Nicole was actually the one who introduced us. She knew him from a study group and thought we would get along. We became this inseparable trio for a long time. Even after college, when we all moved to the same city for work, we hung out constantly. Justin and I started dating pretty quickly after we met, and Nicole was always supportive. She called herself the third wheel, but in a joking way. She would come over for movie nights, we would go on trips together, and it just felt normal. I honestly thought she was happy for us. When Justin proposed last year, Nicole cried tears of joy. She helped him pick out the ring. She planned my bachelorette party. She was my maid of honor. I never had a single reason to doubt her loyalty or her friendship. I trusted her more than anyone. Throughout the wedding planning process, Nicole was involved in everything. She went dress shopping with me. She helped me address invitations. She was my rock because wedding planning is stressful and I get anxious easily. There were a few times over the last few months where she seemed a bit off, but I just assumed she was stressed about her own life. She had just broken up with a guy she was seeing, and she was complaining a lot about being lonely. For example, about 2 months ago, we were looking at flower arrangements, and she made a comment about how lucky I was that Justin put up with me when I get stressed. I laughed it off because I know I can be a handful, but the tone was a little sharp. I didn't think much of it because we joke like that. Then, a few weeks later, she made a joke about how 50% of marriages end in divorce, so I shouldn't spend too much on the venue. Again, I thought it was just her being cynical because of her own breakup. I figured she was just projecting her own unhappiness, and I tried to be supportive of her. The rehearsal dinner was this past Friday. We rented out a private room at a nice Italian restaurant. It was just family and the wedding party. There were about 30 people there. Nicole looked beautiful. She was wearing a dress that was maybe a little dressier than what we had discussed, but she looked great. She was in high spirits, laughing and pouring wine for everyone. I was just happy to be done with the planning and ready to get married. Justin seemed a little tense, but I figured he was just nervous about the wedding. He's not a huge fan of being the center of attention. He was drinking a bit more than usual, but so was everyone else. It was a celebration. Dinner started and people were giving toasts. My dad gave a speech, Justin's mom gave a speech, and then it was Nicole's turn. She had a glass of champagne in her hand, and I could tell she was tipsy. She stood up and started talking about our history. She talked about how we met in middle school and all the trouble we used to get into. Then she started talking about Justin. She talked about how she introduced us. She said something like, "I remember seeing Justin in the library and thinking he was the most perfect guy I'd ever seen. And I knew I had to set him up with my best friend because I love her." It was sweet, but then she kept going. She started talking about how much she loved Justin. She said, "Justin, you are the kindest, most patient, most handsome man I know. You deserve the world." She stared at him for a long time. It got a little quiet in the room. Then she laughed and said, "And you got up instead." Everyone laughed nervously. I laughed too because I didn't want to make it awkward. She wrapped up the speech by saying she hoped we would be happy. She sat down and downed her champagne. I felt a little weird about the speech, but I told myself I was overreacting. She was drunk. She was my best friend. She was just trying to be funny. After dinner, people were mingling and having drinks. I was talking to my aunt in the corner. I looked around for Justin, but I couldn't see him. I assumed he went to the restroom. About 10 minutes passed, and he still wasn't back. I started to get a little worried because the dinner was winding down and we needed to thank everyone. I walked out of the private room toward the main bar area to look for him. I saw Chloe, another friend of ours who was in the friend group. Chloe looked really uncomfortable. She grabbed my arm and asked if I needed a drink. I said no, I was looking for Justin. She said, "I think he went outside to get some air." I walked out to the patio area. It was empty. I walked around the side of the building where the parking lot is. I saw Justin standing by his car. He was pacing back and forth. He looked upset. I walked up to him and asked him what was wrong. He looked at me and his face was pale. He looked like he was about to be sick. He told me we needed to leave. I asked him why. I said we couldn't just leave our own rehearsal dinner without saying goodbye. He grabbed my hands and said, "Nicole tried to kiss me." I froze. I stared at him. I couldn't process the words. I asked him to repeat himself. He said that he had gone to the restroom, and when he came out, Nicole was waiting in the hallway. She asked him if they could talk for a second. She pulled him into a small alcove near the kitchen. He said she was crying. She told him that she couldn't hold it in anymore. She told him that she has been in love with him for years, ever since she met him. She said she thought she could handle seeing him marry me, but being at the rehearsal was too much. Justin said he tried to stop her. He told her she was drunk and she didn't know what she was saying, but she kept going. She told him that I wasn't right for him. She said that she knew him better than I did. Then she leaned in and tried to kiss him. He said he pushed her away and told her to stop. She tried to grab his face. He had to physically shove past her to get away. He ran outside to the car because he didn't know what else to do. I felt like the ground had opened up. My best friend, my maid of honor. The person who was supposed to stand next to me while I got married. I asked Justin if he was sure. I asked him if maybe he misunderstood. I was trying to find any other explanation. He looked me in the eye and said, "She told me she loved me and she tried to put her tongue in my mouth. There is no misunderstanding." I felt sick. I felt angry. I walked back inside the restroom. Justin tried to stop me, but I pulled away. I needed to see her. I went back to the private room. Nicole was sitting at the table, pouring another glass of wine. She looked up when I walked in. She smiled at me, a sloppy, drunk smile. I walked up to her and asked her to come outside. She tried to wave me off, saying she was having fun. I grabbed her arm and pulled her up. I wasn't gentle. I dragged her into the hallway. It was empty. I asked her if it was true. She looked at me and her expression changed. She stopped smiling. She didn't deny it. She just looked sad. She said I didn't mean for it to happen tonight. I couldn't let him do it without knowing. I asked her knowing what. She said knowing that there was another option, knowing that he didn't have to settle. Settle, that word rang in my ears. She thought he was settling for me. I started screaming. I couldn't help it. I told her she was a snake. I told her she was delusional. I told her she was a terrible friend. She started crying. She tried to hug me. She said, "I love you, but I love him too. We can figure this out. We're a trio." I pushed her away. I told her she was not part of any trio. I told her she was done. I told her she was uninvited. I told her if she showed up at the wedding, I would have security throw her out. I told her to lose my number. I walked away and went back to the car where Justin was waiting. We drove home in silence. I cried the whole way. The next morning, the day before the wedding, my phone started blowing up. It wasn't just Nicole. It was Chloe and two other friends from our group, Jessica and Paul. They had a group chat going. They were all saying that I was overreacting. Chloe sent a long text saying that Nicole called her crying hysterically. Chloe said that Nicole was drunk and made a mistake, but that she didn't mean it. She said that uninviting the maid of honor the day before the wedding was insane and would ruin the whole day. Paul texted saying that we have been a friend group for years and I shouldn't throw that away over one moment of weakness. He said Nicole was just stressed and lonely and I should be the bigger person. I couldn't believe what I was reading. My fiancé told me she tried to kiss him and confessed her love, and my friends were telling me to be the bigger person. I showed Justin the texts. He was furious. He took my phone and texted the group. He said she tried to cheat with the groom at the rehearsal dinner. She disrespected Op in our relationship. If anyone has a problem with her being uninvited, you can stay home too. That shut them up for a few hours, but then the individual texts started coming. Chloe called me. She said she understood I was hurt, but that I was ruining the group dynamic. She said if Nicole wasn't there, it would feel wrong. She said, "Can't you just let her come and sit in the back? She promised she won't drink. She just wants to support you." I asked Chloe if she would let a woman who tried to kiss her fiancé come to her wedding. Chloe got quiet and said, "Well, it's different because you guys have such a long history. She's like your sister." I told Chloe that sisters don't try to steal your husband. I hung up. I spent the whole day before my wedding crying and feeling anxious. I was supposed to be getting my nails done and relaxing. Instead, I was fielding attacks from my own friends. I started to doubt myself. I wondered if I was being too harsh. Maybe it was just the alcohol. Maybe she really didn't mean it. Maybe I was ruining the friendship over nothing. I talked to my mom about it. She was horrified. She told me to stand my ground. She said anyone who would do that is not a friend, so I didn't change my mind. Nicole was not allowed to come. The wedding was yesterday. It happened. We got married. It was okay. The ceremony was beautiful. Justin looked handsome. We said our vows, but there was a dark cloud over the reception. Our friend group table was awkward. There was an empty seat where Nicole should have been. Chloe and the others were whispering the whole time. They would come up to congratulate us, but their smiles were tight. I felt like they were judging me. I felt like they were blaming me for the awkwardness. At one point, Paul came up to me at the bar. He was drunk. He put his arm around me and said, "It's a shame Nicole isn't here. She really loves you guys. You know she's at home crying right now." I just walked away. I couldn't deal with it. Now we are at home. We are supposed to be leaving for our honeymoon tomorrow, but I just feel drained. I feel like I lost my best friend and my entire friend group in one weekend. I keep replaying the speech in my head, all the little comments she made over the years. I feel stupid for not seeing it. Justin has been great. He keeps telling me I did the right thing. He keeps telling me he loves me and he chose me, but I still feel sick. I feel like maybe I should have just let her come and ignored it until after the wedding. Maybe then we could have dealt with it quietly. Now it's a huge drama and everyone is taking sides. I don't know what to do about the friend group. They are still texting me, asking if I'm going to forgive her. They want us to all meet up for brunch when we get back from the honeymoon to hash it out. I don't want to hash it out. I want to never see her again. But if I cut her off, I lose everyone. I'm sitting here wondering if I really am the villain for breaking up the group. Update: we are back from our honeymoon. We went to Hawaii for 10 days. It was beautiful and it was good to get away from everything, but I couldn't completely shut off my brain. I spent a lot of time thinking about everything that happened. While we were away, I didn't respond to any texts from the friend group. I just wanted to be with Justin. When we got back yesterday, Justin sat me down. He looked really serious. He said there was something else he needed to tell me about Nicole, but he didn't want to ruin the honeymoon, so he waited until we were home. I felt that panic in my chest again. I asked him what it was. He unlocked his phone and handed it to me. He opened a text thread with Nicole. I scrolled through it. It wasn't just the rehearsal dinner. There were texts going back months. Most of them seemed innocent on the surface, but looking at them now, they were weird. She would text him late at night asking what he was doing. She would send him memes about relationships being hard. She would ask him for advice on things she definitely didn't need advice on, just to keep a conversation going. But the worst part was what she sent him the night of the rehearsal dinner after we left, and the morning of the wedding. After I dragged her into the hallway and uninvited her, she went to her car and started texting him. Text 1, 11:30 p.m. Friday. She doesn't deserve you. She's so mean. I would never treat you like that. Text 2, 11:45 p.m. Friday. I know you felt it too. In the hallway, you hesitated. I know you did. Text 3, 12:30 a.m. Saturday. Please don't marry her. It's a mistake. Everyone knows it. We can run away. Seriously, just say the word and I'll pick you up. Text 4, 7:00 a.m. Saturday wedding morning. I love you. I've always loved you. Don't do this. I stared at the phone. My hands were shaking. She asked him to run away. She asked him to leave me at the altar. I looked at Justin. He looked sad. He said, I didn't reply to any of them. I just blocked her number right after the 7 a.m. text, but I wanted you to see that this wasn't just a drunken mistake. She knew what she was doing. He also told me something else. He said that after the meeting in the hallway at the restaurant, he realized something. He said that for a long time, he enjoyed the attention she gave him. He said she always built him up and made him feel like a hero, whereas I was more grounded and realistic. He admitted that he had a small crush on her when they first met, years ago, before he and I got serious. He said he let that crush die, but he thinks she sensed that he had a soft spot for her, and she exploited it. He said, I realized that she wasn't being a friend to me. She was trying to collect me, and the moment she realized she couldn't have me, she tried to destroy me. Hearing him admit that he liked the attention hurt a little, but I appreciated the honesty. It made sense. Nicole was always very charming. After seeing those texts, I felt a clarity I haven't felt in weeks. I took screenshots of the texts, specifically the ones where she trashed me and asked him to run away. I opened the group chat with Chloe, Paul, and Jessica. They had been messaging while we were away, making plans for this reconciliation brunch. I sent the screenshots to the group chat. I wrote, this is what you are defending. She asked my fiancé to leave me on our wedding day. She told him I didn't deserve him. This wasn't a drunken mistake. This was a calculated attempt to ruin my life. I watched the red receipts pop up. Chloe typed for a long time. Then she stopped. Then she typed again. She said I didn't know she sent those. She told us she just tried to kiss him and immediately apologized. I wrote, she lied. She has been lying to all of us. If any of you still want to be friends with her, that's your choice. But I am done. And I am done with anyone who thinks this behavior is acceptable. Paul didn't reply. Jessica replied with a wow. I left the group chat. I blocked Nicole on everything. Social media, phone, email. Then I looked at Justin. I asked him if he was sure he blocked her everywhere. He showed me his block list. She was there. We spent the rest of the night talking. We talked about boundaries. We talked about how we let her get too close. We talked about how we need to protect our marriage from now on. It's going to be hard. Our social circle is decimated. I don't know if Chloe and the others will reach out or if they will stick with Nicole. Honestly, I don't care as much as I thought I would. If they can see those texts and still defend her, then they aren't really my friends either. I realized that Nicole was never really the third wheel. She was trying to be the driver. She wanted to be the main character of our lives. I'm sad. I'm mourning the friendship I thought I had. I'm mourning the memories of us growing up together, but I know I can't go back. The funniest part is, looking back, I remember so many times where she tried to make me look bad in front of Justin. Little comments about my cooking or bringing up embarrassing stories from high school. I always thought it was just banter. Now I see it was sabotage. I'm glad Justin told me everything. I'm glad he didn't hide the text to protect me. We are going to start fresh. New friends, new boundaries. It sucks that my wedding memories are tainted by this. Every time I look at the photos, I'll remember the drama, but at least I have the husband, and she doesn't. So to anyone who thinks I ruined the group dynamic, the dynamic was already rotten. I just exposed it. I'm going to take a break from social media for a while. I need to focus on my marriage. Thanks for the support. It helped me stand my ground when I felt like I was going crazy. Nicole, if you somehow read this, you didn't lose a friend, you threw one away, and you didn't get the guy, you lost everything.